as the epidemic gets ever worse. Kofi Annan has warned the authorities that they shouldn't impose measures which could discourage health workers from going to countries that need their help. The former UN Secretary-General said the virus must be stopped, but it will be stopped in West Africa.
The only way we can get ahead of this game is to contain the epidemic in West Africa by getting additional health workers in, getting in helicopters, medivacs, and all the equipments we need. If we discourage the health workers from getting in, we are not going to be able to contain this, and we will all be at risk.
So do you see the decisions taken by the governors of New Jersey and New York, even though reversed somewhat, but the fundamental point that they're making, you see this as a bad one?
I think it's a bad one and unfortunate in the sense that it's not backed up by science. The doctors from World Health Organization to CDC here and other countries have indicated the worst thing you want to do is to close off the borders, come up with this sort of restrictions and scare away potential help.
But when Governor Christie says his first responsibility is the public safety and public health of the people in New Jersey, how do you square that circle?
Oh, I agree with him that our concern should be for the public safety and public health. But if that is the concern, we also have to accept that the only way you can deal with it and protect the people in the medium to long term is to stop the epidemic. If you come up with procedures and approaches that scares off the health workers and they are not going to go to where the issue is to help stem it, you are not in the end going to be ahead of the game.
Do you see now a real risk that health workers will not want to go because there is a fear of a 21-day quarantine upon return?
These health workers are the everyday heroes and heroines of our time who go out and do an honorable job, and sometimes you hear the comments and they are being maligned, being treated in a manner that I don't think is respectful. And if you hear some of the comments, wives and children are not going to want to see their husbands and others fly off to go and help.
And certainly not if they're going to be put in a tent next to a hospital
when they come back.
When they come back.
When they come back.
What did you think when you saw that?
I was quite shocked because obviously I heard the interview with the woman. She was not sick and therefore not contagious.
The message about how you catch Ebola has been out there for months.
Exactly.
Why do you think people are not understanding it?
I think people are not understanding it because the leaders are not hammering on to. The leaders should hammer away and explain in schools, on television, on radio, and now that is becoming political, also on the political stance and campaigns.
That's a very dangerous position to be in.
I agree with you. That's why we are having this problem. Some are seeing the possibility, be this close to elections, to play the populist card.
Are you basically disappointed that more people are not bashing away at how you get this thing and doing that?
I am disappointed, not only bashing away, but we don't have the resources that we need.
Do you think this is because, frankly, until now, Ebola is a developing country disease? Mm-hmm. It's stuck down on West Africa. Mm-hmm. It's a long way from, frankly, the rich man's world.
I agree with you that if it had happened elsewhere other than Africa, the response would have been faster. And if the disease had emerged in a richer country, we would have today have a medication or vaccine. We've known about Ebola for 40 years, but it's a poor man's disease. And sometimes the companies feel if you spend money and do research and come up with medication, the poor can't afford it. So there's a tendency sometimes not to do enough research on what I call poor man's disease.